Oh, welcome back. We get to put this motor back together. It's only been 2 weeks, so that's why we haven't been up to much, but now we've had this block decked and we've got the stainless O-ring wire hanging out 10th thou now instead of about 5. Hopefully it'll give that gasket a bit more crush. We'll start, we've got to do some clearancing for these aluminium rods, so we'll do a bit of a dummy up first, see where we need to take a bit of material away. Oh, so we got the crank in, spins nice and free. Look at that. So where are we hitting there, Donnie?
Clearancing there.
Ample on top on the bed plate, but it's down on the side, bottom of the sleeve.
Donk.
So there is actually a fair bit of aluminium material just above the sleeve. So hopefully we've just got to take that out and we don't actually have to chew into the sleeve too far, because you've got to remember there is coolant behind that and we definitely don't want to get into there. So after taking that amount out, we're still miles away. Yeah, further down the ball road. Ta-da! What do you reckon, Donnie? Are we ready to put a motor together, mate? Donnie's covered in metal shards.
Yes,
Oh, I've got the bearings underway. We got the first one done. Donnie's still right into this whole weight reduction business.
yeah,
He's taking it from wherever he can. Fair bit had to come out, but it looks like it's all going to clear. And we've got about 2 to 3 mil, if not a little bit more in some spots. And hopefully now it's going to rotate the whole way around. We've done both sides. Got thrust washers in there. Cool. Oh, heaps of clearance. You'd fit another con rod in there just about, Donnie.
yeah.
Well done, it's looking pretty good. We've got good clearance everywhere. Now, we always put the oil squirters in first. They're way easier to put in now before you put the crank in. Well, we've got it all back together, or the bottom end anyway, so heaps of clearance. It all seems to wind over nicely, so that's good. We've torqued the bolts the way they said to. We've greased the bolts the way they've said to. So now we'll wait for this head to be repaired. We'll smack that back on and start getting all the oil pump and sump and everything on it too, and we'll be back in business. Our beaten up windage tray is about to get a bit more beaten up because it's hitting the top of the rods. Some people call me a panel beater, other people call me full of shit. But what do you reckon, Donnie? That's panel beater at its best, mate.
Whatever you say.
Oh, just another point, we need a clearance right next to the oil pump. So, number 1 rod, it's not actually touching, but it's bloody close. So we'll take that back off and clear it out. Well, after a bit of panel beating, we've worked out we're not even going to run it. It does hit the rods at the back edge as well. So by the time we have to modify that to do what it needs to do to be able to clear it, we've decided it's probably not needed really because of our sump design, how it's so low to that crank anyway. There's only sort of a 5 to 10 mil sort of gap. So we're going to run without it and see how we go. I think our keyway's a bit bent. That's that drag cartel one. I don't know why it's done that. This gear's got the pin, the dowel on the back that the factory K series have, and it's also got this little slot machine in here that's come from Drag Cartel. So for some reason it's tried twisting our keyway, and we know the balance is on bloody tight, so not sure there. Right on the bottom we've got an aftermarket Saruta head gasket, the same brand we've been using. The one on the top is a stock K24A3 for the guys in Australia, or A2 if you're in America, the RBB. Now on this gasket we've got big water openings here for water to come from the block through the head gasket into the head, small ones here, and nothing on this side. Now this gasket's got big ones on number 4, big ones through here as well on number 1, and some the same size through the 2 middle cylinders. The last gasket we had only had openings on number 1, and it was a Saruta head gasket, exactly the same part number as this. So this is a bit strange, but it's got bigger holes at the back, which we were going to do anyway because of flow. We're also going to open up these holes to make it bigger to try and get more water through up into the cylinder head now that we're making all the heat up the top. Oh, here we go, Donnie.
Ready?
Here we go. Bing! That's the story. That bit will snap off and we'll be away. Oh, we've changed head studs to the 4-piston 625 material. So these are meant to be 17% or something stronger than the L19 that we were originally running. We'll give these ones a whirl, see what happens. I always just run a ruler across the top of the studs when I put them in. That way you know that they're all the way home. This was the easiest way visually to show up if you've got one that's sitting a bit proud or something silly going on. Now, something I never had to start with was an aftermarket chain tensioner, this part here. Now, an OEM brand new one did show signs of wear really quickly. I think if you're planning on getting rid of all the VTECs, and then that way you're always running on a big lobe, it puts a lot of pressure on that, especially at low RPM where the oil pressure's probably not there. And we were wearing out the teeth in the side of the tensioner. Definitely probably something that gets overlooked a lot, so do a bit of homework on them. Sometimes these ones here, I think we're about 500 Australian, but it's better than paying for all the bits that have to go into your motor anyway. Don't forget to put your rubbish bag over it when you're ready to go home. Oh, this is exciting. We've been waiting for this piece. Now, I never bought one when we did the 3 fuel pumps in the back. We just quickly banged another 525 in there. So originally we had 3 525 Woolbros in the back of the car, and that was running our E85, so that gave us enough pump. The only issue with that is we ended up with about 75 amp current draw or thereabouts. So this little pump here is a bit deceiving. So it's a 1380 litre per hour. Now what this is going to be used for is our methanol system. So this is going to run 4 5000cc fuel tech injectors. But the beauty with this pump is its current draw and its massive efficiency. So it'll only be drawing probably 20 amps, and this electric pump will supply us enough power, enough fuel to run methanol without having a mechanical pump hanging off the side of the motor. So I'll pull it out of the box and we'll show you a few bits. Righto, don't quote me on everything that comes out of my mouth here because I'm sort of a little bit new to these, but we did have one in the Integra. We had a little ELIXIR 700 litre per hour pump. That ran that car to 900 horsepower quite easily. It would have had a lot more in it too. So what we've got is the fuel pump itself. It's a little brushless unit, I believe. He's made all the hanger and everything up. So he's also supplied the top hat and an aluminium weld-in, so we can sort of cut them threaded rods to whatever lengths we want. All the wiring goes through nice little sealed terminal things there. That obviously plugs into the pump, and that plugs into the controller. So what happens is it's all in this controller, I believe. So obviously big power and earth in there, and then we have a PWM signal as well from the ECU, which means you can actually change the speed of the pump as you need it. So you don't need to be sitting there running full fuel pump the whole time, even at idle. So you can do it under fuel load or injector load, or tuner will probably tell you the best way of doing it. It also comes with the relay and circuit breaker, so that's a pretty cool thing. So by rights we're going to just have the other power lead hooked up to there obviously, and then that's going to run off, in our case, to the back of the alternator is a good solid power feed, and that'll be triggered by the ECU or ignition switch. But they are something that's pretty new to the market. They've been in some pretty big cars now, you would have probably seen. Definitely got a good reputation. So he's doing an awesome job with these little units. I just think by the time you weigh up the price for all your mechanical stuff and you've got a bout hanging off the engine and a few different things, with all the ECU technology we got now, we can easily just flick one of these on and off. We get to the racetrack, we flick over from unleaded to methanol by pushing a button. We don't have to put a bout on, we don't have to put a little dog drive in the back of a mechanical pump that's running off a camshaft. It keeps it nice and easy. You definitely pay the money for them, but like I said, by the time you set up a mechanical system, you're going to be the same sort of money. So this sort of stuff, you know, electric stuff's come a long way, so I think make the most of it. Well, here's another piece of the fuel system methanol puzzle. Got some Fuel Tech 520 pound injectors, I think they are. So quite big units, quite bulky too actually. It's hard when you look at photos and videos of them to actually physically see their size. So what I'll do, I'll go and get another injector actually and put it next to it to show you. There we go, we can finally see for the first time the actual size difference between these things. So that's a stock Honda K24 injector, and that is a Fuel Tech injector. So one's about 310cc and the other's 5,000. So that sort of gives you an indication of the volume required. When we switch to methanol, we also have to run this driver, which is a peak and hold driver, to run these injectors. So a little bit of mucking around. Hopefully we can fit all this stuff in there. So they'll all be going in the same manifold we have been running previously. So we'll have 4 of these ones down the front and 4 of these at the back, just for running unleaded. Oh, we've got 2 sumps now, how good. Oh, Dan, Fab Lab. I said, Dan, can you make us another sump? Because the other one's hit the concrete quite a few times. He said, good idea. Now we've got one for a spare we can take to drag challenge or at any meeting we go to. And we've got the new one we'll put on. So he's pretty much copied them to be as identical as possible because they are really close to the rail. So always remember, put these flaps in like Dan does, not what I didn't do on the first sump when we blew that first motor up. So go back and check them videos out if you haven't already. Make sure you like, subscribe to the channel, it always helps. And we'll see you on the next one.
Well, that was interesting.
Break it down.